Masechta Bava basra daf ayin gimel amar aleph. We're starting a new pedic. Till now we spoke about karka, bayis, air, soda. But but we're talking about karka. Now we're going to talk about movable items. So the Gemara, and what's included when you sell a movable item. So here we start. Somebody who sold a boat, but without the detailing what he's giving with the boat. So he sold it's like a sailboat. He sold a big pole, and the big pole comes with a sail, so the wind blows on the sail. That's a oigen, and the anchor, as the boat sails, it shouldn't start drifting away. That's called all those parts that drive the boat. Those are included. Yeah, that's what the Gemara is going to say. It includes the oars. But he didn't sell the avodim of the svina. Why? That even though the workers they're used to drive the boat, to watch the scheda that's in it. But the Rashbam says, but since these avodim are not specifically for this type of work, they can be used for other things as well. It's not needed dafka for the svina.
He needs a captain for the boat.
It's true. But the captain is a shaila in halacha if the captain goes with the boat. But he says, the
captain doesn't leave the boat when it's sinking, right?
okay. But over here we're talking about those shemrim, they watch the scheda, they ride the boat. But these malachis could be done to other people as well. It doesn't have to be dafka these avodim. So it's not inclusive. And not those bags that carry the cargo from one place. You fill up the merchandise in bags and you put it on the ship, and so special bags. So not the matzufim are not included. The loyas han tiki, and not the scheda itself is not included when he sells the ship.
Whoever puts merchandise on the ship.
But what does he want to say over here? He says
all the ropes. He doesn't think about ropes.
he's not talking about the ropes. He's talking about the merchandise. The merchandise that's on the ship.
There's always ropes on these.
If there's ropes, then it's included. But here he wants to bring out there's a difference between karka and a svina metaltalin. By karka, we said there's going to be a difference if he's selling it. So when he sells by ayin yafa. So all the tfeilim the kezachen are bottled to the iker. When he gives it as a matana, but we're talking when he gives it as a matana by ayin toiva. So he's giving more. So everything. Moich is buying raw, but if he gives it as matana, it's inclusive.
Yeah, matana gives everything.
So he gives everything. That's the only. Or Yerush, we said, or Magdish is the same thing. When somebody's Magdish, that's like a nice matana. The difference between Moich and nice matana is only by karka, because we say those things are bottled to the karka. But here the primary thing is metaltalin, so it's not going to be bottled. So here, that's what the Rashbam says. Avo b'mikra shemachiris metaltalin. When you're talking about mechiris metaltalin, iav shaliris klal es hachafetzim shenismatu kitfeilim el ikar chayfetz. You can't look at it as it's bottled to the ikar chayfetz, because each metaltalin it's its own item itself. It's not, each one has the same. It's not, one is not different than the other. It's not bottled. Yeah. So lafika kein havdel between mechira and nois matana. Okay, zog the Gemara. But when the Meicha said to the buyer, he says, I'm selling you the boat and everything that's in the boat, then everything that's in the boat is taka, part of the sale, including the merchandise, the bags, everything.
The avodim also?
The avodim also, yeah. Zog the Gemara, Toiran, what is Toiran? Iskaria, is a big pole. It's like the Gemara, so it says in the pasuk, Erez, milavonin lakochu, tenem hole, cedar wood from Levanon they bought, and last is Toinan aloyich in order to make a big pole. So you see the Fedish, that's referring to the pole. The Navi Yecheskel was being misnava, he says, on the Churban of Tzur, which was the city of Tzur was built at the seashore, right by the water. And that's where all the salespeople, the merchants were there. So he says, the Navi was comparing the city of Tzur that was destroyed to a big ship that sunk. So he says, so he brought down these words.
Right.
So these
words. A mast.
A mast, right? That's the big pole. Yeah, that's an English word. Okay, sagt die Gemara, Nes. What is Nes? Says Adora. Adora is that's the cloth that goes around the sail, that goes around that mast. And so it says in the pasuk, Sheish berikma. Sheish is the linen embroidered. Mimitzayim from Mitzayim. Hayim efrasach liyas lach lenes was spread out in order to serve as a sail. So here you see again that it's that it means a sail. That's Nes. What's Eugen? The anchor. That the boat shouldn't drift away, so you anchor it. Stop it. Tony Abchia said, Elu Oiginin Shalom. Okay, very good. So Oigin, so we said is anchor. So he says, Elu Oiginin Shalom. These are what they throw into the riverbed, into the floor, in order to hold the ship in its place that it shouldn't drift away. So it says in the pasuk by Rus. Halohein tisaberna ad asher yigadlu. The pasuk is talking about Nami, Avimelech, and the two sons died. So Nami was Aguna, was left alone. Not Aguna, was left alone, and the two daughter-in-laws because the two sons passed away. So who are the two daughter-in-laws? Rus and Arpa. So she told them. Nami says, "Listen, go back to Moav. I can't help you. Don't escort me. Don't escort me to Eretz Yisrael." And he connected. She was saying, "Listen, even if I give birth to children, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait for the children that I'm gonna have in the future till they become adults, and you're not gonna get married." Yeah. Does nachega. She didn't even have children, and you're gonna wait till I have children. And you're gonna wait till they become. What are you gonna wait? And you're gonna hold yourself. Teyagana shows like you're gonna anchor yourself. You're gonna hold yourself back from being able to marry other people. So you see, Oig is halashon anchoring. Manhigim means to all those items that drive the boat. That's referring to the oars. You know, the oars that make the ship go on the water, move on the water. So it says, Aloinim mi Bashan, the oak from Bashan, they made from it oars. Other saints from here. They came down, those that came down from the ship, say Mashet. All those that could hold an oar, all those that know how to use an oar, they would come down from the ship to the small boats. If the ship sunk, they would jump in the small boats and use the oars to move away. Yeah. Here he brings down, I think this is 8 and 9. Here he says, Hanavi he says, what are the kalim for the svina, the oars, and he says not only that, it may ika tashmishe hasvina, that the ika from the kalim for the svina, and that makes sense. That if he sold the boat, the ship, it goes together with the oars. So he says kol hamanhigim, that includes the oars. One who sells a boat, a ship. He sold the keves, the ramp that you go up onto the ship. You can't jump and get on the ship. You got to go on the ramp. And also they had a reservoir of water in the ship because in the sea it's all salty water. As they sagt the Rashbam. When the Svina was traveling on the Yam, the water was salty, so they needed a reservoir of water in the ship. So that's sold together with the ship. When somebody sells the Svina, he sold also the small little boats that are on the side of the big ship. And the Rashbam says, the Gemara Tevayim miyad shadugis v'abitzis einoach. It's the same thing. Okay? Bitzis, small boats. Robert said, bitzis, that Rabbi Nosson said, Hainu dugis, that's mamish the same thing as dugis. Why is it two names? Rabbi Nosson called the Bavla, he called it Butzis. Why? Because he was from the Bavlim that went from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. They would call it these little boats Butzis. Okay, like they called it in Bava. K'de'ami inshi. Like people will say, Butziasa the Mishon. Bitzi is from the river of Mishon. And he brings down, there was a small little river, and only little boats could go on those rivers. So that's why they used. So those bitzis, they couldn't use the ship, so they went on these little boats to travel those rivers. Of course, the water was shallow.
Little rowboats, they call them.
Little rowboats. Okay, K'de'ami inshi. Okay, I just said that. Sumchis, the Bar Eretz Yisrael, Sumchis, who was from Eretz Yisrael, Karela, they called it Dugis. K'dersiv Achrischem, in the later days, Besiris Duga. It says that in the later days, what's going to happen? It says that the Yidden will be taken to go as Bimhidus with Schnellkeit. So it says, Elohim Sfinis Kananis Ademis Lesir, it was similar to a pot, K'deira. Vein Shotis Mekaus Al Pnei Hamayim. They went very easily on the shallow waters. Ulefika Chem Masimois Lidiyog. They were fit for, catching fish. The kavanah was that they're going to be taken to Golas fast. Like these little boats that go in the little waters, the shallow waters. Okay, so the Gemara said, they told the Yoda Hayam, those that go on the oceans, they said, "Hi, Gala the metabolisfina. This wave, this mo'uyim wave that sinks a boat with its people, mischazik susisa the nur chivata bereisha. The wave, the beginning of the waves, it looks like a spark of fire, of white fire, at its tip." And it says that's the spot that's the wave that's coming, and he calls it that white spark is called the Malach Habola. It's the Malach Hamavis, and umachina leibavlosa, and you can hit it with a stick, a bat. Really, it's wider at the end. He says, what kind of a bat that could you hit it with that'll stop the wave from sinking the boat? The chok alei. That in it's carved out the three names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Eka Asher Eka, that's one. Ko Hashem Tzvakis is two. Amen Amen Sela, and three. Those three names are carved out on the bat. If you hit the wave with that, v'noyach, then the wave will subside. I didn't try it yet. Amar Abba, I first have to engrave it in a bat. Amar Abba, and then go to a wave.
The ship that went in probably didn't have the thing.
They didn't have the stick yet.
The big ship from England. What was it?
Oh, I forgot what it's called. Titanic. Yeah.
They didn't have the stick.
They didn't have the stick, yeah. Or maybe they had the stick, but they didn't get a chance to hit it. The way it came out, I was like, Amar Rabba, yeah. Amar Rabba, gesagt, Ishto li na chayse yam. They told me, the Yoda Yam, those that go on the sea, told me, between one wave and another is 300 parsec. The height that it elevates them, 300 parsec. He says, Rabbi Chana tells a story. One time, we were going on, the Yoda Yam were telling Rabbi Chana, we were going on a boat.
These were true stories that they were telling them?
It could be metaphors, we'll see. Udalina Gala, and the boat was picked up so high, till they were able to see the small star, the place where it rests. And that place looked, Grive Biza de Chardala. It was such a tremendous shetach, where the tiny star, the smallest star in heaven was, which is gigantic probably, like a shetach in which they seeded 40 kur of mustard seeds. It's a big shetach. That's how big the shetach was. Of where the small star was resting.
When the ship went up so high?
Yeah, it took him so high till he saw the small keicham and the area where it's resting.
Maybe it was clouds. Maybe it was just clouds.
Okay, and if this wave would have lifted him a little bit higher, we would have been burnt from the star. from the heat of the star. And one wave called out to the other. Chaverti, my chaver, shavkas midid be'alma l'lei shetafte. Did you leave anything that you didn't flood yet? Because I want to know. Maybe I could do something for you. The Nasi Anona update that I could come and get rid of the rest, take care of whatever's missing, whatever was not flooded. Amrullah, the other gal that flooded, that went up so high, didn't flood, went up so high, he said, look, come and see the strength of your master, that he doesn't give me the shus. He says, I can't even pass the seashore, one string even. I can't flood the earth.
Who recorded this?
Shanema, like it says in the pasuk, "Oisi loitiro neum Hashem." Me, Hashem says, you don't fear. I'm Hashem. Aren't you gonna tremble before me? That I made the sand as a gvul for the yam, that it shouldn't pass that. It's a chak that you shouldn't pass. So he wanted to show, look how strong our master is, that we can't go against it. No matter how high I go, I can't flood the place. I can't make the tsunami. So there is, on the bottom you have so much over here, I can't do it. It's going to take us till tomorrow. We'll go to, once we finish, we'll go back. I myself had seen Humin Bar Lilis. I saw this Humin Bar
He
Lilis.
wasn't no ship, this guy, right?
The other one was the Yoda Hayam told him. Those that travel the sea told him the story. Now Rabbi is saying,
From the seafarers. Rabbi didn't say this stuff.
No, but this one. Right.
Told me this whole story.
Right. No, but now this story is different. Rabbi said, the Chazili, I myself had seen Humim Bar Lilis. So if you look, the Girsa is Humis. Okay? And it's the name of a shade. Lilis is the name of the mother shade, the mother of all shadim. A mother of shadim. Zog the Yimara Kikara Takuf the Shura the Mechuzah. Yeah, sure. We're going to talk about this shade that was born from a mother shade and a human. We're going to talk about it later. Kikara Akufya the Shura the Mechuzah. When the shade was running on the top of the wall, there was a cavalier, they call it, those that run on horses, go on horses, a rider with a horse. So was running on the bottom. One shot is that he couldn't catch up to the shade. And it was a Chazda Hashem that he didn't. No, one is that the cavalier couldn't catch up to the shade. The shade was running much faster, which was a big thing.
Who was running up to the shade?
He didn't know he was running. He was on the bottom of the wall and he was running fast with his horse. Some rider, a rider. And the shade was on the top of the wall. And he couldn't catch up with the shade that was on top of the wall.
Was he running to the shade?
He wasn't, but he didn't even know. But if he would have caught up to the shade would have killed him. So it was like chesed ahead of him. Others say it was the opposite, that the shade couldn't catch up to which was also the Eibishter made that he shouldn't. A miracle. If you want, I can read over here. Here he says over here. Doesn't allow the shade to do hezek. Here we learn out shadim mazikim lebnei adam, and therefore one shouldn't go out alone outside at night. She shouldn't get hurt from the mazikim. It says if you go with two people, it doesn't harm you, but you can still see the shadim. We had it in the Gemara before. And three, you don't see it at all.
Yes, 2 in the morning and he got beat up by a guy.
That's not
walking 2 in the morning.
Okay, that's not a shade. That's a guy.
How do you know it wasn't a shade?
Okay, then good.
He was dressed like a person.
Ulam yesha pisha shakasha. What does it mean? He couldn't catch up. Kavanasa hisa shaperes lo yachol hoyo lahasik hashade. One pshat is that the rider couldn't catch up with the shade. Lule, he says, if he so he says, she'ilo hoya haperes masik hashade. If he would have caught up to the shade, The shed would have heard him. And this that he couldn't catch up with the shade was the kindness of Hashem. And then there are those that learn the opposite. That they say that it was the reverse. Okay. So the Gemara, one time, misagon leitate kuda nyose. There were two mules, and they were on two sides of the river that the shed was riding. The kaimon atreigish
The shed was riding
On top of the mule.
on two mules. One mule was on one side and one on the other. He was jumping from one mule to the other.
Oh, this is the shed.
The shed, yeah. Here he says on two bridges, which was on top of the Nohar Roigang. Anyway, Ushva Mahai Lahai Umahai Lahai. And Humiz would jump from one mule to the other while he was riding. And not only that, and I'm sorry, and he was holding two cases of wine in his hands.
Wow.
The shed.
And they didn't spill.
Oh, very good. While he was jumping from one mule to the other, he was pouring the case back and forth. And not a drop fell to the ground. He was doing acrobatics moves over there.
Nobody was watching him.
No, they were watching him. That was the problem. That's why he got killed. You'll see. That day, it didn't drip. Not one drop. Not one drop dropped to the ground. And that day, that story happened. That was happening. It was such a stormy day that the boats, that the Yam was going up and down. It was a tremendous storm. And during the storm, he was doing this whole acrobat. Ad the Shembe Malchusa, till the king of the Shadim heard, and others say it was the regular king. We'll soon say it. The Katlu, and he killed him. So they killed the shed. So here, Melech Zu Melech Hashedim, Shepokad Larikes Humin. He commanded to kill Humin. Why? He was showing off in front of, and that's not the derech of Shadim. It's supposed to be concealed. The Humin Oses Meisim Lein Curly, he did it in front of everybody. He revealed the Seidas in front of them, in front of people, so the king of the Shadim, Snam Hashman, I killed him. Yesh Mefarshim, no. Shehumin Hayetzetza Shal Ish Shabal Sheda. Humin was a person that was born from a mother shade that lived with a regular human. And he lived between people. There was one of these Caesars, kings in those times, killed him. Maybe,
This was the time of the Roman Empire.
yes, maybe Hurman will take away the Melucha, because we know which Shlomo Melech, Ashmedai, took over the Melucha for a while. He threw him thousands of miles away. Okay. Sagt die Gemara, Rabbi said, I myself saw Urzila Bar Yoime. I saw this ram that's a day old. The Hava that was so high, so tall, Kahar Tavai, like the mountain Tavai. It's a very tall mountain. Bahar Tavai Kamahava. How high was Har Tavai? It says Abba Pasig, 4 pasois in the height. That's how high it was. Zaki, huh? A parsa, he brings down, let me see, 8 years for him. I go to Aboyim. Others say it was 40 passes high. I'm sorry, 40. I think it's a passa is 4 meal. 4 meal is the mahalach of 72 minutes. Anyway, 40 passois is very high. It's a mashugah high. And the neck of this ram was 3 passes high. When it rested its head on the ground, it took up a space of a parsa and a half. when it took a dump, how do you say it? When we made number 2, and he dropped it into the Yarden, in the Jordan, so it clogged the whole Yarden. The water couldn't go through till it got melted, and then the water went through.
They had the plumber.
No, it melted on its own. It says here, "Shesosim es hayadin lechol reichlei ve'atzel lefi shah," and it held back for a little while as rimas meimav, the running water, acha mayim himisu, till the water dissolved. Dissolved. Yeah. Like the Rabba Bachana had said, "Lededi chazili ahi akrupta." I have seen this frog, the Havyabe Akra de Hagronia, that it was as big as the city called Akra, which was in Hagronia. Akra de Hagronia Kama Havya. What was the height of how was the big the measurements of that city? So you want a sheet in Bote, 60 houses. So that's how big the frog was. So you want a Asatanina Bala, a snake came and swallowed the tzvadeya. Asa pushkansa uvala l'sanina. Then a female raven came and swallowed the nachash, which swallowed the tzvadeya. But now now we're talking about the oidev had to be very, very heavy. V'solik, it went flying up, Yosbi Ilana, and it sat on a branch of a tree. So the Gemara wants to bring out, come and see how strong that tree was, that the branch was able to hold this raven that swallowed the snake, which swallowed the big tzvadeya of Shishim Batim. If I wasn't there, I would never believe it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what Ila Loya Yisi Sham, Loya Yisi Mamin.
He wasn't afraid of the whole thing?
No, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Omar Rabba Bachana, and Rabba Bachana said, Zimna Chana at one time have a Kazlina Bisvinta.
This Rabba Bachana is not the same Rabba, no?
It's the same Rabba Bachana telling all these stories.
No,
There's
is
21
he
stories
the
here.
same as Rabba? When you say Rabba?
Rabba Bachana,
It's a different person.
no, it's a different person. No. Omar Rabba Bachana, we never say Rabba Bachana unless it's a different. Rabba Alain, yeah. Zimna Chana, one time, I was going with a boat. And I saw this Ujanga fish. That the fish was sitting, was settled, and then a little shadetz went into his nostrils and stopped the whole oxygen over there. Umis, and the fish died. So if you look in 13 and in 12, it says that this fish, this shadetz, is called kilbis. And even the Leviathan was afraid of that little shadetz.
The Leviathan was afraid.
Well, yeah, Shabbos HaKilbis motels afila ala Leviathan. As they sagt the Rashbam. And the Rashbam sagt, how did it kill the fish? So he says, it blocked the oxygen from coming into the fish. Yeah. Sagt die Gemara over there about Chu. That Chu Maya v'Shadiu Laguda.
The Leviathan was afraid of him.
Yeah, a little Gesharetz, you see. That Chu Maya v'Shadiu Laguda. And the water came and put the fish onto the dry land. When the wave came and it dropped the fish on the dry land, when the wave came and dropped the big Leviathan, it wasn't Leviathan, this big fish, it destroyed 60 cities because of the wave just dropped it.
It was bigger than the Leviathan was like.
No, Leviathan is much bigger.
This is what he saw, right? He
Yeah.
saw this? How can he see that they destroyed 60 cities?
Okay, we know it was destroyed.
The president declared exactly a disaster area.
Okay, yeah. And 60 cities ate from this,
From the fish.
from the fish. Oh, this fish would keep you forever. And those that lived far, so how would they keep the fish fresh? They would have to salt it to preserve it. So he says, Umalu, and Umalu mechad galgala, the einay klas meya gaba mishcha. And they filled up from one eye 300 barrels of oil, from one eyeball. וכי
You had to be like a unbelievable city.
וכי hadam lebasa treise yachid shata. And when they came back to the same place 12 months later, Chazina and the Havakam and Nasim Egam and Metaltala, they were sawing the bones of the fish. And they were building back up these cities, all these 60 cities, from the bones of this fish.
That's what he
They were
saw.
making
He saw
sukkahs.
that.
It says they were making huts from it.
Maybe he had a dream.
16. They built up the 60 cities of Mechuzah. Sagt die Gemara, V'amar Rabba Bava Chana. And Rabba Bava Chana had said, Zimna Chada, one time, Havakazlin Besvinta. I was going in the ship, V'chazina Ahu Kabra, and I saw this fish, the Yasalei Cholsa Agaba, that it was filled with sand on its back. The Kodach Agma Ilave, and on its back, a whole grass grew, and it looked like an island. The mamish looked like an island. So the people thought, oh, this island. This Alkina, they came off their boats. They went onto the island. They made a picnic. They made a fire, a barbecue, and 1 minute. And now, the chad cham gabe, and when the fish got a bit hot, it's happy. Chad schil get madrei. Yes. So what happened? It says we love the haben the covers finter haben tavinan. If not for the ship right next to there, where the fish, they would have drowned it. It's only because of the ship they held on and they got all the ship. Yeah. Rabbi Chana had gesagt, this is the 8th story we're up to. We're going to have to go through 21. Rabbi Chana said, Zimna Chada. One time, we were going on the boat, on the ship. And the svina was, we were going from one fin to the other on one fish. So here the Hashbam says, one fin was towards the head, and one was towards the tail. And they were traveling on the fish between the fins.
It was a kosher fish.
There was 2 fins. Yeah. It took them from one fin to the other fin of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
How they were going?
Oh, wait. So you're going to think, the fish was going against the current. But Vahanan Bishipula, we were going with the current, so we were going much faster. And not only that, if the fish is going this way and you're going this way, you're going even faster. And they're going with the current, they're going much faster. Or if you want to say, oh, it's nevertheless the ship was going very slow. So he says, no. Avdimi said, the time that it takes to heat up a glass of water on fire, or kumkum, a little, I don't know how you say,
kettle?
not a pitcher, like a kettle.
A kettle.
A chinik, yeah. So that time that it takes to heat up the water, misagya shitin parse, the ship was flying already 60 parse. You would heat up the water in a kettle, let's say it takes 3 minutes, it went 60 parse.
Much faster.
That's it went so fast. V'shadi parasha gira v'kad malay. Not only that, when somebody would pull a bow and shoot the arrow, the ship would go faster.
And he was on that ship?
And it doesn't say, Rabbi Chana said, Havaz Linon, yeah, it says, Hayinu, Mahalchim Bismillah, yeah. Ramin Abashi, Ahu Gilda the Yama Havoy. That fish must have been a small fish. Because the Islay Trey Shaitse, because it had 2 fins. And most, Leroy Hadogim Zok the Rashba, Yeshach Snape Echad the Gavam. They only have 1 fin. And this one had, the dog Shabbat Shalano, Hayishnei Sampirin. This dog that we're talking about, Zok the Rashba, they had 2. Lefikach Masing Avash, Shahayazeh, dog, Hal Gildana, Shu Mimin Hadogim Ktanim Shabayam. It's from the Kleinshika fish that takes 3 days to go from one fin to the other. Okay, Namsina Lameidim, Shafilu Hadogim Ktanim Hoy Gedolim Yosef. So the Hashbam says, so we find that even the small fish were very big fish. Rabbi Bachana said, "Zimna chada." One time, Havazin besfinta, we were going on the ship. V'chazina nahut sipra dekaim ad katsula d'memaya. We saw this bird was standing in the water, up, and the water only reaches its ankles. V'reishei barakia, but the head reaches the heavens. V'hamrina leikamaya. So we said to ourselves, "Oh, it's the water only reaches the ankles. The water is very shallow." And it says, "Hey, we want to go into the water to cool off. We want to go down into the water in order to cool ourselves off." But a bas kol came out because it says Leviah stopped. But nevertheless, they were using the Gemara Yuma says bas kol existed later as well. So that this bas kol said, "Listen, don't go into this water. The axe of a carpenter has fallen into this water. Before 7 years. It still didn't reach the ground yet. It's still 7 years and it's going down. Not because it was not only because it was very deep, because the water was very current, stormy and
So that's why clothes are going there.
yeah. Ravashi, that tzipper, that bird, that its head reached the Shemaima, ziv sadayu. The ziv, like it says in Tilim Nun, Pasuk Yud Aleph, v'ziv sadai imadi. Rabbi Bachana said, Zimna chada, one time have a kazlina b'madura. We were going in the Midbar. Chazinan hanhu avozi. And we saw these geese, the shamti gatfayim shamnayu, that their wings, their feathers were falling out because of the fatty
Very fat.
fat. Yeah, the fatness of the geese.
Huh?
Yeah, kachkis. Yeah, the konagdi nachli the mishcha mitusayu, and from the bottom of them, so much oil was dripping. Amin lahu. So Amin lahu. I said to them, Islam do we have a chelik from you guys in the world to come? Chada dali gatva. One of the geese picked up its wings as an answer. The chada dali atma, and one of the geese picked up its thigh. Yasai lekamid Rabbi Lazar. When they came before Rabbi Lazar, Amali, Rabbi Lazar said to me,
Why did he ask the geese this question?
because it was a big geese and it had so much oil and it looked like a fatty geese. It looked like much like the Leviathan. We're going to have something. So Amali, Asidin Yisrael Litin Aleina Sadin. So what does that mean? What did Rabbi Lezer mean? So the Rashbam says, Avozim Elam Mitztarim Machmas Shumanu Marav. These geese are suffering from the fat. It's hard. Rakim Bisa Mashiach Yigalu Mitzarim. Only in the time of Mashiach, then they're going to be redeemed from that tzar. Shows Yishchato Isam Kidei La'achilam LaTzadikim, because we're going to shech them to give it to the tzadikim to eat. But Ois Izman Yitnu Hachitim Esadin Loirak Achoteihem. In that time, those that sin will get punished for their sins, but not on the sins, only on the other sins. Alagama Akasha B'Masem Ikves Beis Mashiach. Also on the sins, because of their sins, they held back Mashiach from coming. V'herichu B'Kach Et Tzaram Shal HaAvozim. And they made that the Avazim should suffer a longer time, that these geese should suffer a longer time with the fat. It was a tsar for them. Because they prolonged the time of Mashiach because of their sins, they're going to be punished for that also. Chutz from the sins alone, but their sins caused that the Geula should be later. So the Kachkes have got tsar from them. So that's what the Rabbi Bachana is next. I can't. No. Okay.